we have freely received and desire to freely give. And with Giant, let me pull up the screen share here. We want to offer every month, second Tuesday of the month, a toolkit session, real quick, an opportunity for you to take a quick break before lunch or in the middle of what you're doing and pause and really contemplate or think through some simple but profound principles that we have, and we would just want to pass them on so that we can be better leaders. Our goal here in Giant in life is to know ourselves, to lead ourselves, and know our people and our community and teams so that we can lead them well. We want to be leaders worth following, and that's what this is all about. So Giant, we work with a lot of companies around the world, helping them with leadership principles and team performance. And we're going to get into the know yourself to lead yourself, but that is for Mr. Corey. Corey Hunka, he comes from Ohio. And Corey, tell us a little bit about yourself. You're married, you have kids, you're a leader in your community, and you work with some awesome companies, teaching them how to be leaders that people want to follow.
Yeah.
How many kids do you have?
My name's Corey. I'm married to my beautiful, incredibly more competent than me wife, Rachel. And she doesn't even pay me to say that. I just genuinely believe it. We've been married now for, oh my gosh, don't tell her I hesitated this long, 11 years. And we have 4 kids. So when y'all are praying, thinking, sending positive energy, feel free to, send some of that my way. My kids are 8, 7, 2, and 0. So I got 2 sets of 2, I like to say. I have the OGs and the new class. And that's the way our household runs, except for the oldest of the new class. My 2-year-old kind of like runs everything a little bit. So that's the dynamic that we're dealing with. As John said, I do leadership consulting. I lead an organization in our community, and then I also lead outside of our community in several different organizations. Began to carve a niche, most especially in quick service food, actually, of all things. I remember I've gained several clients now that are in the quick service food industry with chains all over the world, big companies, a whole lot of employees. And I remember in a moment of being overwhelmed, I asked Eddie, I was like, when did I become like the niche and expert leadership consultant for like fast food? And Eddie looks at me and goes, in college, bro. You gained that credibility in college. And I was like, wow, that was really wildly hurtful. But thank you for pointing that out. So so I look forward to being with you guys. I'm happy to see a lot of you guys live. I watch a lot of these videos back. So it's cool to be with you guys live, and I see some familiar faces. So what's up to you all who I've been with before? It's good to see you again. And yeah, just looking forward to being with you for a couple minutes this morning.
Awesome. Go ahead and take us through the tool, and I've got my screen that I can share.
If you'll throw that back up there, one of the tools that I think we talk about most often is the Know Yourself to Lead Yourself tool. This is the starting point. This is the starting point of leadership. I think the top value, the top starting point for me in terms of growing and gaining influence in all the spaces and places where you exist has got to be self-awareness. Your starting point, the starting point of your leadership journey is becoming more self-aware. And I think with self-awareness, what that gains is that gives us the ability to then better lead yourself. We repeat it constantly, to know yourself, to lead yourself. The more that I can know things about me, the more I'm capable and confident in my ability to put in disciplines that are necessary in place, or to make conscious decisions that level up my actions. The reason that this is an infinity loop is because this should never stop. We should never stop attempting to learn ourselves. We should never stop attempting to become increasingly more self-aware. And so about the time that we think we've figured ourselves out, we stop growing. We really stop learning. I'm in a position where I believe that the best leaders are the people who put themselves in positions of being learners. And so those two, to me, phrases should be synonymous. So I want to walk you through this tool, and I want to be self-deprecating to myself a little bit, and hopefully you're able to identify with more than a few things that what I'm saying. But we start this tool at the bottom. Actually, we start with our tendencies. Here's what I always say about tendencies is that our tendencies never change. We all have these like natural hardwired tendencies that despite what our parents or guardians or authorities in our life have tried to like poke and fix about us, man, let's just be honest, guys. Some of these tendencies don't ever change. There's no neurological surgeries, and there's no home training that can fight some of these tendencies out of us. For me, I have this tendency, it's natural to me, it's hardwired in me. I have this tendency to have this insatiable need to speak my mind. It's something that like it starts here, and I can't express to you how quickly it moves from here to my chest and makes my heart start beating a whole lot faster, and then how even quicker still it raises to my throat, where it feels like I'm either about to say something or I'm gonna vomit. I'm not sure ever which one until my mouth starts to move and words start to formulate. I can't help it. There's something in here that is so closely connected that I just don't go through this process of like, wait, should I think about this first? I just have to say it, right? And so that tendency in me to want to process externally or extrovertedly, that tendency in me informs my patterns of behavior. And my patterns of behavior inform the actions that then other people experience. So because I have this tendency to want to process my thoughts immediately out loud, is I speak up a whole lot in meetings like this one, right? Even if I weren't leading the session, as soon as one of y'all took a breath, I'd be like, yeah. And so for me, I just think that like I can't help it. It's an action that comes out because of a natural tendency I have to formulate ideas and process out loud. Now, if you haven't learned by now, hopefully we can agree upon the fact that all of our actions have consequences. Consequences can be positive, but in this analogy, the consequences are negative, right? At least for starters, is that the consequence then, because I speak up, and my natural voice does tend to like lend itself more towards like confidence in my competence, the consequence is I talk over people. I don't give appropriate space to let something sit and let some internal processors figure out what they think before they share. If there's a pause, most naturally, I feel it. And so the consequence of that is people feel like I talk over them, or that I'm a bad listener, or that I'm a bulldozer. And so the reality that then paints of me is that I'm this bulldozing, hard-headed pioneer leader that doesn't care about anyone's thoughts, opinions, or feelings outside of what they can contribute to the idea that I just vomited out, right? And that's a painful reality that I've had to deal with on, unfortunately, more than one occasion, right? Where that's been the perception. Perception is reality. So then the question has to be asked, how do we change it? Well, Corey, just stop saying everything that comes to your mouth. Okay, then you just stop breathing, right? It's just a slight disconnect, right? But here's where self-awareness is important. Here's where it's important to know yourself, know that tendency about yourself so that you can better lead yourself. Because I know that about myself, I then can be conscious of when that happens. I can work on leveling up. I can't change the trigger, right? When somebody asks for an idea, I'm triggered to share, right? I can't change the trigger, But what I can change, I can level up my patterns of behavior and my actions. I have a rule for myself that and for my team here at home, the rule is I speak last. Because what that does is that gives everybody an opportunity to share before I say something that may or may not come off to people as like the idea that I'm set on and we're moving with anyway, right? And so a pattern that I've started to develop with our team is I'm letting, in something that we're doing collaboratively, I'm letting everybody share before I share what I think, because then that also just forced me to be disciplined to hear what other people are saying. And when I hear what other people are saying, I'm able to take into consideration all other angles that don't occur to me most naturally. So then what happens is my action is that my thought is, or my idea is thought out. I've considered what other people are saying, and I can be more responsive rather than just bulldozing. So then the consequence of that, rather than it being like, dang, Corey just came in here and like took over the whole meeting and like bulldozed everything. The consequence of that becomes people, me building trust and credibility with people because they feel heard. So then the reality then becomes I'm a leader that has built trust and credibility, and I'm able then to better maximize my influence in a space rather than what it would have been if I just came in and just started shouting things out, that just occur at the top of my head. Does that make sense? So what are some of like the natural tendencies that you recognize about yourself? The tendencies that honestly we'd be better off stopping trying to fight to change and rather learning the disciplines and the safeguards to put in place to level up our patterns when we're triggered. So process for just a moment what some of those tendencies might be. Walk yourself through. I'm flipping it back to Eddie or John here. Walk yourself through the infinity loop and begin to acknowledge what some of these things are, because when we acknowledge what some of these things are, we can then level up our actions. When we level up our actions, we level up our consequences, and that gives us a more credible, a more influential, a more liberating, a more positive reality in those that we're attempting to lead.
All right, so as you guys... Go ahead.
Sorry, I have a question. I don't know if I missed it, but I just want to make sure the link between reality and tendencies. What I would assume is that reality triggers these things in you that keep bringing up these tendencies. Is that like the link in that part of the loop, or did I just make that up?
No, so no, that's good. You didn't miss it. I didn't share it. I just walked it through kind of like chronologically, but yes, that would be how this loop just keeps on going. Is that when I'm then faced with a lot of these realities that sometimes are a warm embrace and other times are a cold slap. They feel like a cold slap to the face. Mm-hmm. It causes me to go then back to these tendencies that say like, dang, what is it about me that has began to color this picture of me to other people that I'm attempting to lead. So I think you said it exactly. It's good.
Thank you.
And John, if I could have this the tool one more time, it actually just triggers this idea in me that it's the reality that you have. Sometimes it's a problem that people bring to you. And you can actually work it backwards and say, well, that problem, what's the consequences that led to that problem? What are the actions that led to those consequences? When did you perform those actions that led to those consequences? What's the tendency inside of you that creates, when it happens, it leads to those specific actions? I've actually find it much more natural to work the infinity loop backwards with people real time, especially if there's no tool in front of me. And if there's a tool in front of me, I work it through tendencies, and then the other way around. Think about it, so simple, right? Of just, I have the tendency to not want to be very tired at the end of the night. And at the end of the night and so what do? I don't want to like read or pray or spend any time with my people. The consequence of that is there's a disjointed feeling about our night. And the reality of that is our kids kind of stay up a little bit. They don't feel secure. And there's not kind of this this continuity to our days and our nights, right? You can run a tendency really fast, or you can run it slow and kind of go deep like Corey did. Two things. The spread. Some people put these on spreadsheets and they just go, what's my reality? What's my consequences what are the consequences that led to that reality? What are the actions? You can do a spreadsheet that way: reality, consequences, actions, and tendencies. Or you can do a spreadsheet: tendencies that I have, actions, consequences, and reality. And it just allows you personally to begin to work on the things that people see in you that you are beginning to see in yourself, right? Know yourself to lead yourself. People are always experiencing you a certain way. And so now you get to almost look behind the mirror and go, hey, I can actually work on how people experience me. And that's gold. That's gold. So guys, we're at 20 minutes after. I wanted to make sure that you take the 5 Voices assessment. John will get that out through, he'll have it on the link here in the chat, but also it'll be in our Eventbrite that goes out. We'll put that out on LinkedIn through John's page. Corey, it's so good to have you on. I've been wanting to share you with my community for a while, and you're a dear friend and brother. So thanks, guys. Thanks, John. And guys, we'll see you next month, same time, same place on Zoom for another tool. See you guys.